Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rock's CTM Test World. As always, Rock here. So. Last episode we discussed a little bit of the concept of custom enchantments, or it's kind of a rehashing of an older episode of Rock's CTM Test World of custom enchantments, but taking advantage of those with some of the new loot table functionality that was introduced into the first 1.14 snapshot. However, that's not necessarily all that was added into the 1.14 snapshot with regards to loot tables, and I wanted to go over another little concept here. I guess you would call it progressive loot tables. So something that the loot tables will change over time as you're playing the map and get better, or you kind of can unlock these additional perks to the loot tables. Maybe it's done through some type of upgrading system. There have been kind of various CTM maps, such as Ragecraft and such, where you're able to unlock abilities and improvements as you continue throughout the map. So this could be a similar concept that could work in regards to mining. So generally speaking, in CTMs, ore is iron ore, gold ore, diamond ore. Maybe not so much gold, but iron ore and diamond ore. I've always been kind of those one of those blocks that the map maker typically tries to keep close to the chest, not really put a whole lot into the map, and it's for good reason. Typically, iron tools are pretty good. They're in the second highest tier of armor, weapons, and tools and such like that. So the balance of maps can quickly change depending on how much of this is provided to the player. So typically with a lot of maps, you're not going to see any iron early on in the map. You'll see it later on. Mid map towards the later map, you'll start seeing these ores. However, there are kind of decorative purposes and decorative uses that could be applied. Having access to these ores and such earlier in the map, maybe this allows for the player to kind of see these ores at the beginning, learn of the mechanic of not being able to maybe acquire these ores just yet, and then they can come back at a later time to harvest these ores. So with this, we're kind of gonna go into the concept of this kind of, I guess, what did I just call it? A level up system for mining, more or less. So this system, particularly, as you can see by the scoreboard value on the right side here, is actually tied to a scoreboard. So with 1.14, we now have the ability to tie the loot that we can get from blocks to scoreboard values. So as you can see right here, we have miner level 0. So if I try to mine this iron ore, it is purely going to drop a cobblestone. No matter how many I mine, it will drop a cobblestone. So this means our mining proficiency isn't high enough to, start prospecting more than just the cobble, and we kind of destroy all the iron in the process. And we can start upgrading ourselves. So maybe mining this gives us an iron nugget. Still good, however, actually not nearly as good as the iron itself. Upgrade ourselves to miner 2. At this point, we can start mining the iron ingots, and then for overkill, I just kind of did an example. If we upgrade it all the way, we can just start mining iron blocks. So this is a concept of kind of a progressive loot, a block loot table kind of a system that could be in place within a CTM map. I see this definitely as something that you could easily tie to maybe the number of wolves that you've gotten within the map and placed on the monument. So after X amount of wolves, you start upgrading your mining proficiency, or even if it's tied to some type of stat where you have to mine enough cobblestone from iron in order to start mining iron. Kind of a probably suboptimal kind of route for a CTM, but definitely the concept of being able to kind of tier the drops that you're getting based off of kind of progression. I think that could very well fit within CTMs. And it would allow, like I said before, it would allow you to put iron in earlier areas without the, the risk of, disrupting the balance of the map, because then, they can try to mine it, they're going to get cobblestone, and it's not really going to matter too much. So that's the concept of progressive block loot tables. There's also plenty of other applications with that of, having quote-unquote abilities that the player can unlock in order to just general mining might give them, increased potential drops or random drops and stuff like that. So mining cobblestone could occasionally you get a gold nugget. I don't know, iron nugget. Or harvesting crops could potentially give you something interesting. There's plenty of options and possibilities with regards to this, but I just wanted to kind of go over a very basic rudimentary example of this. And let's go ahead and take a look at the loot table for this, and let's have a little fun. All right. So as you can see here with the loot table for the iron ore, we have taken advantage of the alternatives type again. That way we can have multiple different options based off of different criterias. So it's kind of a similar copy and paste of a lot of the stuff here. First condition, if we have a scoreboard value on the player that's minor of 3, we'll turn an iron block. If we have a scoreboard value 2, it turns an iron ingot. Scoreboard value 1, it turns an iron nugget. And then by default, it returns cobblestone. Pretty straightforward, pretty modifiable, and I don't think really a whole lot has to be said about it, but definitely has a lot of potential implications, and I would love to hear some ideas of how any of you map makers out there, or CTM map makers out there, could potentially take advantage of this in the future. So that's going to do it for today, everyone. Thanks for joining, as always, with another Rock CTM Test World, and I hope to be back soon with another one. Bye!